Arsenal give an overwhelming green light over next transfer, icing on the cake. Arsenal have already spent heavily this summer, with a number of new faces having already arrived at the Emirates, and another major deal has been given, the thumbs up by a Gunners legend. Ray Parlour has backed Arsenal to sign Eberechi as their final summer addition. The Gunners have already spent heavily this summer, with 6 new faces having arrived at the Emirates Stadium. Noni Madwek, Victor Gyökeres, and Martin Zubamendi are among the headline arrivals, while Christian Norgard, Christian Mosquera, and Kepa Arrizabalaga have all signed for the club. But Mikel Arteta's side might not be done there. Arsenal also want to add a new winger before next month's deadline. Crystal Palace star S has been identified as a potential signing, while Real Madrid's Rodrigo is also an option. Gunners icon Parlour has given his verdict on Arsenal's windows so far and believes that S could be the final addition of the summer. Speaking on Talk Sport, he said, "I think there might be one more signing. I don't know how much money they've got left or whether the rules as well they've got to look at. But if there is enough money, Ez would be a great signing," he added. "He'd be playing off the left there, maybe, but you've got to have options. You've got to have lots of players who can just come in and come out of the team. And we all know that you've got to have depth. A lot of depth if you're playing Champions League football. The FA Cup, so many games. That's why Norgard would be good for Arsenal, because he can come in certain games. He's got the experience. And he knows he's going to be second fiddle, but he can still play a big part for Arsenal in certain areas. So I think Ez would be the icing on the cake. Would Eberechi be a good signing for Arsenal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Arsenal need to get a move on if they want to complete a relatively affordable move for ES. The England winger has a £68 million release clause written into his contract with Crystal Palace, but that only remains active for another week. His contract with Palace is due to run until 2027. Should the Gunners not make their move before then, they could potentially be forced to pay more for Ez. Rodrigo has emerged as another option for Arteta, but it is suggested that Arsenal would only be willing to make a move for him on loan. Arsenal start their Premier League season against Manchester United at Old Trafford in just a week's time. Before that, they take on Spanish side Athletic Bilbao at the Emirates Stadium in their final preseason game. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Newcastle tell Alexander Isak he will not be sold this summer, leaving one-away Liverpool target furious. Eddie Howe has discussed the star striker's future. Newcastle have told Alexander Isak that he will not be allowed to leave the club this summer, according to reports. Isak has been embroiled in a transfer saga for most of the window as he tries to force through a move to Liverpool. The Reds have already seen a £110 million bid for the Swedish striker turned down by Newcastle. Now, according to the Telegraph, Isak has been informed that he will not be sold in a show of defiance from the club's Saudi Arabian ownership. It is claimed that Isak has been left furious by the decision and will not be played by Eddie Howe until he is able to come to terms with the fact that he will be denied a move this summer. The Saudi Public Investment Fund PIF have remained steadfast in their stance that Isak isn't for sale for the entire window. Liverpool were understood to be aware of their strong position when they decided to lodge their £110 million bid. Manager Howe has ordered Isak to train away from the group in the midst of the uncertainty surrounding his future. Isak returned to former club Real Sociedad to train alone earlier in the summer when he wasn't part of Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia due to the speculation. He has since returned to the Magpies training facility but is yet to work with the rest of the group. Howe said on Friday that it is clear that he can't involve Isak in team training at the moment. He explained, "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group." Isak still has 3 years remaining on his deal on Tyneside. Newcastle Chiefs have reportedly tried to offer him a new deal, with some claims suggesting it would include a release clause for next summer. The club have been looking for a new striker of their own this summer, losing out on the signing of Hugo Ekitike to Liverpool and Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United. It is reported that, should Newcastle bring in a new striker, they will still maintain their position that Isak is not for sale. Newcastle are yet to discipline Isak, with it suggested that they hope to reintegrate him into the group once the smoke clears. Alexander Isak transfer news. Eddie Howe says Liverpool target cannot train with Newcastle squad but still has future at club. Eddie Howe has said Alexander Isak cannot currently rejoin the first-team squad and is set to miss their Premier League opener at Aston Villa, but insists he still has a future at the club. Magpies rejected an opening offer of £110 million plus add-ons from Liverpool. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe insists Liverpool transfer target Alexander Isak still has a future at St. James. Parkman says the striker cannot currently be involved with the squad and will miss their Premier League opener with Aston Villa. Isak was back at Newcastle's facility on Monday morning, having missed their pre-season tour and trained away from the rest of the squad. As instructed by Howe, the Magpies rejected an opening offer of £110 million plus add-ons from Liverpool on August 1st. After Isak told the club he wanted to explore his options in the transfer window, Isak was not involved in Newcastle's penultimate friendly of the summer against Espanyol, a 2-2 draw which saw William Osula start up front, with Howe refusing to put a timeline on when the Sweden international would return to the first-team fold. Howe does not expect any resolution to the situation before their season opener at Villa Park next Saturday. He said on Friday, "I'd want Alex to be playing today. I'd want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see that changing before Aston Villa, the current situation we're in." Speaking further after the friendly at St. James Park, Howe said he had been in talks with Isak about finding a resolution. "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the group," said Howe. "I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He is training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened." When pushed for an answer on whether Isak has a future at the club, Howe added, "He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love to have him back with the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen." Isak had previously been training at his former club Real Sociedad's headquarters on his own. After missing Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia, asked if the club could simply dig in their heels and refuse to sell their star frontman, Howe said, "I don't think it's that straightforward. Otherwise, we'd have done that a long time ago. I don't think we're in a position to do that currently. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't think that's right. I think I've said enough." The club's failure to sign players has sparked suggestions. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, owning 85%, is less engaged. However, Howe, who admitted the Isak situation has unsettled a previously united squad, was unequivocal in his denial. He said, "The owners are very much engaged, as much as they always have been. This has been a challenging period where there'll be a lot of different opinions on different subjects, but I can assure everybody connected with Newcastle that the owners are very much behind the project and fighting every day for the club." Howe previously warned no player could expect to act poorly and train with group as normal. Howe has not closed the door on Isak one day representing Newcastle again, but the head coach stressed on Friday that the situation had to be right for that to happen. "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group," he said after Newcastle's 2-2 draw in a friendly against Espanyol. "I don't know how long that will be for, but that's the latest." Howe confirmed Isak, who has no current fitness issues, had not been disciplined, but the Sweden international has been instructed to train at a later time to the rest of his teammates in Newcastle. "I'd want Alex to be playing today," Howe added just 8 days before the season opener at Aston Villa. "I'd want him training tomorrow. We'd love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see the current situation changing for Aston Villa." Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Real Madrid willing to offer Rodrigo in straight swap for Arsenal defender William Saliba after Spanish giants make Frenchman top center-back target. Real Madrid are reportedly considering offering Rodrigo to Arsenal in a straight swap deal for William Saliba. What happened? According to Defensa Central, Madrid are prepared to let Rodrigo leave the club this summer, and their top center-back target is Arsenal star Saliba. Although Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate may be more gettable as his contract expires next summer, a swap for Rodrigo and Saliba has not been ruled out by Los Blancos. The bigger picture, while Madrid may be open to letting the Brazilian forward leave, Arsenal have no intention of Saliba departing the club for the foreseeable future. Indeed, the France international said he is hopeful of signing a new deal with the Gunners soon. But few can resist the temptation to join Madrid if the Spanish giants come calling. Did you know? The report adds that the 24-year-old Rodrigo is considered expendable at Madrid, as evidenced by his bit-part outings at this summer's Club World Cup. Meanwhile, Los Blancos are said to see Saliba as a generational candidate for their center-back positions. What next? It remains to be seen if Madrid will make a move for either Saliba or Konate, and if Rodrigo will stay at the Santiago Bernabeu when the transfer window shuts in a matter of weeks. Before then, Arsenal take on an Athletic Club on Saturday in their final pre-season game. According to what he reports, Central Defense, Los Blancos are willing to allow Rodrigo to leave this summer. While their main target for the defense department is Arsenal star Saliba, although Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate is seen as a more accessible alternative. As his contract expires next summer, a swap between Rodrigo and Saliba has not been ruled out by Real Madrid. However, while Madrid may be open to letting the Brazilian striker leave, Arsenal have no intention of letting Saliba leave in the near future. Read to the transfer that cost Real Madrid €30 million leaves without playing a single match. In fact, the French defender himself has recently stated that he has high hopes of renewing his contract with the Londoners soon. However, few players resist the temptation to join Real Madrid if the Spanish giants come knocking on the door. The report also adds that Rodrigo, 24, is considered expendable by Real, which was also reflected in his limited role at the Club World Cup this summer. Meanwhile, Saliba is seen by club leaders as a distinguished defender of the generation, who could significantly strengthen Real Madrid's central defense in the coming years. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.